Well, you join us at what I hope is going to be the start of an epic little adventure. As you can see from the setting, we're not on the bank yet. We're currently at my home. Gaz and Alex have made the long jaunt down from up north and stayed over last night in preparation to head off to the Channel Tunnel this morning. Last time we was out was at Chernpool in January. We're now April, so effectively we are into spring, although with these temperatures at the moment you wouldn't quite feel so, but it's supposed to be a little bit better where we're going. As I said, I've drafted Alex into fish this time. I think it's going to be a bit of a test this water, so we'll leave Bonesy on the old seat box this time. But Gaz is down filming again, and we're off to meet a couple of the Benelux boys, Eric and Matthias. I won't go into too much more detail than that. I'm going to get the door closed on this van and we're going to make our way to the Channel Tunnel, and we'll catch up with you soon. Well, good morning. You join us at our final destination. Ended up being a bit of a mission yesterday with the travelling. We hit all sorts of traffic, but we got here eventually about 5:30 and we're in Holland at a lovely little private lake. And like I said, it ended up being a bit of a mission last night getting the rods out, so we didn't do anything to camera. We just rushed to get a couple of traps set for myself and Alex. Alex has opted to fish on the bottom over bait, and I've gone on zigs. So yeah, I worked them at different depths. Like I said, by the time we got the rods out last night, it must have been about, I don't know, probably 8 o'clock by the time we were settled. We had a bit of food and retired at about 11 o'clock. And only about half an hour later, my middle rod was away and we were rewarded with our first Dutch carp. Well, how about that for my first Dutch carp? An absolute banger. Ridiculously long, ridiculously powerful, massive fins, and yeah, pretty surprised to get it really. Rod's not been out that long, we haven't even been here that long really. Chasing the clock and just about managed to get the rods out. This one was on a zig, and actually just before I went to bed I knocked it down another foot, just chatting with the boys, and I said I think I'm going to knock that left one down just a little bit more than the middle rod. So I've got 2 out on zigs, and proved to be the right decision, because we're off the mark in fine style, and if that is the start of things to come, I think we're going to be in for a cracking session. And if the fish are all this quality, we're going to be really, really lucky. What a fish. I'm going to slip this back, try and get some sleep, because I'm absolutely shattered. Well, how about that for a start? It's always nice to get your first carp from a new country, but to get one that quick, I think we were pretty shocked and pretty blown away. Lovely, long, clean fish as well. So yeah, just to set the scene a little bit, we're not here on our own. Like I say, it's me and Alex, and we're here with 2 of the Benelux boys, Matthias and Eric, who you'll meet a little bit later on. But yeah, we're our first morning. We've got 3 nights, or 2 nights now we've had the first one. And it certainly looks good this morning. It's quite dull. I'm keeping 2 on the zigs for the day, and I'm keeping my baited rod left out. And Alex is just going to see how the day unfolds before he rings any changes. But it certainly looks good for another one this morning, so fingers crossed it's not too long before we're back in front of the camera holding up another lovely Dutch carp. Well, we said it looked good for a bite this morning, and as I said, I was confident it was going to be over one of the baited spots, but it's not. The other zig rod has rattled off. It's been out there all night and fished at a totally different depth and on a totally different colour, so it just goes to show you not all your eggs are in one basket sometimes. So now I'm in a bit of a quandary. I should probably just keep them both the same and just keep working the different depths and hopefully just keep nicking bites. But a little bit smaller this one, very similar strain, another really clean, beautiful Dutch carp, and we're over the moon with how it started. I can't believe it. We'll have to check and see how the boys have got on over the pond in a bit, have a cup of tea, sit back, and hopefully the next one's Alex's.
We are at the Ronde Bleek, doing a little weekend social with our UK colleagues. Adam and Alex drew pack 5 and Matthijs and I pack 1. The Ronde Bleek is around 2.5 hectares, that's around 6 acres in size. The deepest part of the lake is around 11 meters, that's around 36 feet. The bottom is mainly sand. At opening in 2010 there were around 160 carp in the lake, all of them so-called valkenswaders. The Ronde Bleek breeds their own carp, so last couple of years they introduced more homegrown fish in the lake. There are almost up to 200 carp in the lake at the moment, which of 80% are mirrors. The average weight of the fish is around 13 kg and there are 3 carp in the lake which go over the magic 25 kg mark. Fish called Vlugge Jaapie, de Baron and Walter. So let's see if one of us can catch one of them.
Well, this session has just taken a turn for the just ridiculously amazing. Wait until you see this fish. Caught on a zig again. Over 40 pounds of absolute perfection. What a fish. Me and Al knew the second I hooked this, it just stayed deep and we couldn't get it to move and it would just start going slowly up and down, and it is just one of the most remarkable carp I've ever caught. What a fish. And one thing's for sure, I'm glad I brought the lighter rods. I was going to bring the heavier rods, but I've brought the 3-pound propels and they have just been so nice for playing fish on zigs with the light hook links. Unbelievable fishing, and we're only 24 hours in. Incredible, 3 absolutely amazing fish. And this, wow, is just, if I catch a fish this nice ever again, I'll be amazed. What a carp, what a place. I'll be coming back to Holland for sure.
Well, it's now Saturday afternoon. We've been at the Ronde Bleek for about 24 hours now, and what a 24 hours it's been. This is actually my first time fishing abroad, so I was really looking forward to this trip. I'd seen what sort of fish this lake had turned out in the past, and the galleries contain some proper special fish, so I was gagging to get the rods out. These first 24 hours have been a real learning curve for us. We decided with the deeper water, half of the lake almost, that we'd drawn, we were going to use it as fish as a team really. Adam opted to use zigs from the get-go because we had seen a bit of a fly hatch going on, the sort of swallows diving off the water surface, so we knew that zigs could score quite well. I opted to place some traps down the margin shelf. They've not scored yet, and Adam has had 3 lovely fish. So I think it's time for me to bite the bullet and give the adjustable zigs a go. It's a tactic I've not really used much before, but I think in deep water it can really score well when it's not really been seen before. So leading into this evening, I'm going to persist with my 2 baited traps down the margin, but I have now put 1 rod on the old adjustable zig, so hopefully that'll get a bit of a take in the night. If not, I'll probably leave out for the morning when the sun comes up. I'm pretty confident getting some sort of action off the marginal spots this evening, because we did hear quite a few fish actually moving in the night and crashing out, so all to play for.
One thing's for sure, I'm glad I brought my light rods, because it's been all about the zigs so far. Light hook links, little hooks, and that soft tip on these 3 pound propels. Well, this place really is turning into something else, and I'm just being treated to the most remarkable session. Not only have we had another one, but it's another colossal looking fish. An absolute banger. Just check the scales out on the wrist of this fish and how big its wrist was. Quite some fight. Oh, check. Oh, that out. What a fish. The one we had this afternoon was, whoops, easy. Was truly stunning, and this one equally so. The most unique markings. These fish really are something else in Holland, and if we don't catch any more, like I said before, we're going to be really happy, but if we catch a few more like this, we're going to be even happier. What a way to start the night. Wow, what a fish. We really are getting treated. Back you go. What a result. See if we can catch another one.
Well, good morning. What a beautiful morning it is here at Ronde Bleek. I've got the bite I wanted this morning, first thing this morning, but not exactly what we're after. But every fish is welcome, and it's certainly the first time I've caught anything that looks remotely like this. Check that out. The length of it. Lovely sturgeon. Crazy looking prehistoric animal. Would have preferred a carp, but this is welcome. Nothing saw through the night really down my side, but no carp, but this fantastic creature. Don't see many of these down in the Nen Valley where I'm from. As I'm sure you're about to see, Ads has yet again struck gold on the old adjustable zigs. So we'll check out his fish, get this one back. It's certainly made me very happy this morning. Hopefully a carp next.
Well, this certainly is starting to become a real dream session for me. First time over in Holland, and what a treat I've been in for. No more action through the night, just that fish last night on dusk. First thing this morning, we were all woken up with a bite on Alex's rod, and unfortunately it wasn't the carp he was after, it was a diamondback sturgeon, but it was still amazing to see. Then 10 minutes later, while we're having a coffee, my middle rod's roared off, and we've got another unbelievable looking carp, and another big carp. And if it lets me hold it up, because it's still very, very lively, you'll see just how perfect is that. What a fish. We really have just been catching some unbelievable looking carp, but what a fish. I'm not going to keep them out long, get a couple of stills, but what I will do is just show you those adjustable zigs in a bit more detail later, and show you just how deadly they can be and how to fish them. Thank you, Holland. Well, it's official, this really is the dream session. I can't believe it. It just keeps getting better and better and better. We've been sitting around hoping someone was going to have one of the real giants. I mean, we've had some big carp, but we've gone and had an absolute monster now. It's a fish that Eric's identified as water. It's one of the lake's biggest mirrors, and at not far off 52 pounds, it is one of the most incredible carp you'll ever see. So I'm going to attempt to hold it up. Oh, just look at that for a giant carp. Again, caught on the zigs, playing that on that light line and that little hook in the margin. It's extremely hair raising, but thank goodness I had the long extension on the landing net. I had Big Al there to help, and what a fish. I literally cannot believe it. To be honest, I'm pretty speechless and pretty blown away. We'll get a couple of photos of this, but this is turning into one of those red letter sessions that you're on that wave and you just don't want it to stop. What a fish, an absolute cracker. Oh, mwah. It certainly has been an amazing morning, but we've got some quite intense sun out there now, so I've dived in the Armo with the adaptive ventilation, and I'm just going to relax for a bit in here. But what I will do while I'm here is just explain to you a little bit about the method I've been using and the success I've been having. Now, first of all, you only got to look at the conditions. It's high pressure, sunny, and at this time of year, we're sort of second week of April. The minute those warmer spells come, those carp want to spend their time in those upper layers, especially in the heat of the day. That's not to say they're not going to be in them at night as well. Obviously it's the quickest water to warm up, so they are going to be in those areas, in those water columns, not exactly looking for food, I don't think, but if they're cruising in those columns and you've got a bait there waiting for them, then it can be a deadly method. Now I knew that could be the case here. I looked at the weather before I come, so I came pretty much armed up to zig fish from the off. I brought my light rods, my 12-foot 3-pound propels, I had the adjustable zig floats ready and all my rigs tied up. So first of all, to use them, it's not that difficult. They look a bit complicated, and when you look at that contraption hanging there, I think some people think I'm not even going to attempt that, but just look at the results we've had while we've been here. If I hadn't have fished that method, you know, there's been narva bites around the pond and there's some really good anglers here, but I've had the bulk of the fish in that open water and I've fished the method that's going to catch them this week. Now to fish that method, it's simple. Get yourself an adjustable zig float, thread that on first, and then one of the crucial things is getting that length right at the hook length from the adjustable zig. Now when I say right, you just need to get it so that you're able to measure it. I personally take it from the spigot of the rod down to the reel seat. The only time I'll increase that is if I'm in really clear water. This here, it's quite a sort of murky, sandy coloured here, so I've gone with that hook length, so from the spigot to the reel seat. Now the reason you do this is because once you've cast it out, you then let the float pop to the top and the hook bait. You then start winding it down until the float just disappears. Now once that float's disappeared, you then need to pay the line back down the spool for the length of that hook link. Now as I said, I do it from the spigot of the rod, so all I'll do is pinch the line and then wind it down to that spool, and then I know my hook bait has just dipped below the surface. And now the crucial bit, it's where you want to fish that bait in the water column. Now this week I've been fishing 2 baits, well 1 bait really, and something else, just a piece of black foam, which is amazing. I know in 35 foot of water what we've got out there, for a fish to find that small bit of black foam seems crazy, but it catches fish everywhere and it's certainly done the damage this week. The other one I'm using is a boilie. I'm using a mainline pineapple soaked in some isotonic goo. I've sort of got my theory on that as well, which I will sort of just briefly explain. When you're fishing the foam, I'm a big believer that getting that depth right is so crucial, because I don't think they're feeding fish. I honestly think the fish is passing through and it just gently mouth it. If you've ever watched fish in the edge or in clear water, they'll just grab little bits of sediment and bits of stuff floating around all the time. Not so much to eat it, they'll just taste it, spit it out. And now if they do that with a little piece of black foam, obviously that hook's going to catch hold and then they can't spit it out, which is why I think you catch them. But using the boilie method, which is why I'll always have a boilie on one of my zigs, is because I think you're catching feeding fish. I think they see that pop up from a long way away sometimes and they make a beeline for it and actually take it as if it was on the bottom. Now I think that because of some of the hook holds and stuff I've had, they're just in different places, and to me it's been properly inhaled and taken. So they're my 2 methods. I mean, you can play about, there's all sorts you can use, all different colours of foams, pop-ups, anything that floats will probably catch them if you get it right. But like I said, that depth is crucial. This week it's been 4 foot down from the top. Now you need to play about those depths when you first get to your water, because they might be 4 foot, 6 foot, 8 foot. Like I said, we've got 35 feet out here, so getting that depth was crucial from the start. So I positioned all my rods to start with at 3 different depths: 6 foot down, 4 foot down and 5 foot down. Now the first 2 bites were on 4 foot down, so immediately, as you can imagine, everything's gone over to that, and I've stayed at that 4 foot down now the entire session. It's caught me fish at night and in the day. So when you find that depth, you get it right, the results can be absolutely amazing. It's certainly worked this week. Give them adjustable zigs a go, because when it's not happening with the bait, they can be absolutely deadly. Now when I'm coming away on these slightly longer sessions, I love to have a bigger shelter. Now for years, the Armo range of shelters have been iconic for us, and now they've gone and revamped them. The one behind me is the Armo V4 2-man. Now this has been incredible while I've been here. We've been faced with some intense heat, and the adaptive ventilation all the way around the back and in the front has been unbelievably nice to sit in that midday sun. Now another great feature about the new Armo range is the option to fit in a capsule. Now this has been fantastic while I've been here in Holland. The swims here are topped with chip bark, and if I hadn't have had the inner capsule, I'd have been walking those chip-ins in and out my bivvy the whole session, making it really messy, and I do like to keep my bivvy semi-tidy. Now, and also another great function of that is obviously it's going to keep the mozzies, flies and all the bits and pieces out in the daytime, so that when you come to go to sleep, you're going to be comfortable and above all have that ventilation. So if you're looking for a shelter just like that, be sure to check out the Armo range. They're available in 1, 2-man and even a plus size version. So have a look at the features and full product videos on the Trakker website.
here we are going into the last evening of our awesome trip. Adam has been having all the sports so far, apart from that sturgeon this morning, that is. So I'm just going to nip out now, going out on the boat to drop the last rod for the last night. Right, well, just about over the spot, over the area I wanted to put a little trap. Yeah, that's the one. Well, literally just dropped that rig. The last rod to go out for the final evening of our trip to the Ronde Bleek. It's been fantastic. I've had a great time. Adam's absolutely smashed it on the zigs, as you've seen. I've chipped in with a sturgeon, not really what I was after, but hopefully, looking at the spot I've just located and the tactics I'm using, hopefully I can pick a carp up tonight. That really will be the icing on the cake.
One of those red letter sessions for me that don't come around very often. When they do, you've got to soak them up, enjoy them. But all my mates here, it's just been unbelievable. So let's get this fish out, hold it up and wrap things up. Well, here it is, the last fish on what's been an incredible 3 nights fishing. Probably the smallest of the week. Lovely little character, this one, like a little football. Lovely colours. It really has been the most incredible session here at Ronde Bleek, and I certainly won't forget it in a hurry. It's been a red letter session for me. Some amazing carp caught with some amazing people, making the memories even more special. In fact, boys, jump in, have a quick snap, shall we? Be a nice one to remember it. All in it together. Boys have grafted hard, they just haven't had the fish on them. So this one's for everybody, this one. What a fish, what a week, boys.
Well done, mate.
Lovely.
Well done.
Yeah.
Go, Adam.
Good stuff. Well, check him out. I couldn't let Ads have all the glory, could I? Right at the depth, just brought in, starting to bring the rods in, left to right, and the right hand happened to be a zig, didn't it? And it tore off just as I was getting to the rod, unbelievably. After a few days on the bank, this is the first carp. Very, very made up with this. Right at last knock-ins, just goes to show, got to keep the faith right to the very end. Right, we're going to get this lovely little mirror back. Long journey home, so we're going to crack ahead. We've got some time to catch up on now, so we're going to make plans for the next trip. See you soon.